Alright everybody, and welcome back to the Roundup. I'm delighted to be joined by former Johnstone Borough manager Jamie McKim. Jamie, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Aye, we're literally half an hour after the Celtic Rangers game. Throat's a bit sore, but I'm happy. I'm happy.
Aye, me too. Me too.
We'll move on before our Rangers fans that listen tune out. We've got a few different competitions this week. We've got the Demolition Cup, the Junior Scottish, and the main Scottish, and then we'll go through the league stuff. So we'll start off with the Demolition Cup. 4-3, good start. 4-4, Knightswood 2, Port 4, Whitlets 3. Knightswood have been undefeated this season, won 6 out of 6 in the fourth division, flying. First defeat of the season for them in fourth after getting quite a heavy defeat last week. They'll be pretty pleased with that. Knightswood, I don't think it matters too much. I think the league's all that really matters to them this season and getting as far as they can in that.
I think they're a really strong side for the division they're in this year,
Aye.
Knightswood. So I think, as you said, that probably just lets them prioritise and where they are and focus on the promotion, and which I'm sure they'll get.
I think so. Fourth, I think it's going to be a tough season for them, but maybe a run in the Demolition Cup, putting a couple of wins together is what they need for confidence. The other game in the competition is Knightswood's, probably them and Knightswood's main competitors as well as Rossvale is the Port Glasgow. 4-3 against Whitlets, 4-1 up at one point. I think that they are maybe starting to tick a wee bit. It's like last season, I've spoken about it, last season was poor for them getting relegated. They shouldn't have been with the kind of quality they've got. And Whitlets as well, again, they were the team that gave Forth a doing last week. That's a really good win for the Port. And maybe again, like I mentioned on Forth, being a confidence builder, a real confidence builder for the Port getting into the league games.
See, firstly for fourth, I think that kind of result when you're away to a team like Knightswood, that can kick-start your season.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a tough start, but when you go into the Port game with Whitlets, I think that is a really good result for the Port because Whitlets have made a strong start. And they're a good side. So I was surprised when I seen that, to be fair. But it's a really good result. I think for those clubs, you'll be hoping to go into the next round and try and get maybe a big tie and maybe make a bit of money out and see how far you can go.
Aye,
But no,
definitely.
it's two results. I'll be honest, I probably didn't see looking at the fixtures.
No, I think I'd have been the same. I'd have probably have went both of them reversed for the scores, but good results for fourth and Port Glasgow. Moving on to the Junior Cup, just 2 games in this for us. Giffnock 3, Livingston United 3, 4-3 to Livingston on penalties. Inverkeith and Hillfield, Swifts 0 and Beath 4. I can't really say I know much about Livingston United and Hillfield Swifts. I would expect Beath to comfortably win like they did. Giffnock, I think they're going to have a bit of a funny season. Last year was disappointing for them to lose it so late in the push for promotion. And I think they're going to be a bit hit and miss. But good win for Beath. I'd imagine it looks like a run-of-the-mill result and gets them through to the next round.
Definitely. I think Beath have probably had a bit of a slow start and an inconsistent start to the season. So that's probably one a welcome result for them and something to build on. But just touching on the Giffnock one, I think see the teams in the fourth division, see the last few years, I've been looking at that and I think there's been quite a lot of changes, kind of managerial changes in the areas.
Aye.
I think when you're starting to see them, that's what's affecting teams like Giffnock, like St Peter's, a couple of others. And I think teams like Giffnock is really important to have that stability so they can go and try and be successful. But they'll be disappointed at that yesterday. But
Aye,
it's one of the
I
things.
would think so. Moving on to the big Scottish, Pollock 1, Darvel 3, Glencairn 2, Hutchison Vale 0, Benburb 0, Vale of Leithen 3, Clydebank 7, St Andrews 0, Creetown 1, Cumnock 3, Girvan 9, St Cuthbert's Wanderers 0, Glenafton 2, 3-4, Golspie Sutherland 0, Curluck 2, Haddington 1, Talbot 4, Preston Athletic 2, Irvine Meadow 3. We'll start with the All Premier League clash between Darvel and Pollock. Darvel have had a slow start, losing all 5 of the league games. Good win against Petershill last week, and then 3-0 up yesterday against Pollock. Pollock got one back later on. Do you think that's it maybe starting to turn for Mick now? Because I think everybody knows Mick's a good manager and how well he did at Ashfield. Do you think this could be, again, like we're talking about fourth in the Port, a bit of a turning point for them?
I think they'll be hoping it will be anyway, because I've watched Darvel earlier on in the season against Glenafton. And I think, as I said, I coached against mixed team last year in Ashfield, and you can see he's got good ideas and how to play the game and stuff like that. But I thought with the kind of overhaul it had to be in the summer, it was always going to be a difficult start. But I think that's a brilliant result from yesterday because Pollock are a hard team to play against. I think they've got a good attitude about them. They work really, really hard. But to go there and win 3-1, I think it's a fantastic result. So hopefully, I was speaking to Conor McGlinchey last night, and he was saying that's the best I've been, without a doubt.
It's just starting to tick for them. Mick's getting his ideas across. On Pollock, I think that you'll see Pollock getting results like this, as well as Pollock going and beating teams in the Premier League, because they've got such a young team and they've had a bit of an overhaul themselves. I think that they will be a bit erratic at times and they'll go and lose games you think they shouldn't, but they'll go and win games that you maybe think they shouldn't as well based off of their form. A result that stands out for me is Glenafton 2, 3, 4, particularly with it being a new Cumnock. Thrieve, everybody knows Thrieve, for the level there, I've got a decent bit of money. They're trying to do it the right way with the setup they've got. Glenafton, known caddy, he will be very disappointed the fact that they've lost 4 goals to a team, what, 3 leagues below them?
Yeah,
3 leagues below them.
vision
So,
team.
so that's a big result for Thrieve and a poor result for Glenafton.
I think it's a massive result. We actually, I done a wee bit of the preparation stuff with my brother last week. They went away to Thrieve last Saturday, and you can see they knocked the ball about really, really well. They're a good side, but I didn't see that coming. I think for Glenafton, it is a disappointing one. You don't expect to see that type of result. And I think at one point, I think I seen him talk about it was 3-0 at one point, and you're going, it's a surprise. But listen, I think as well, we spoke about it a wee bit earlier, seeing the cup games for Glenafton in particular, the league will be the focus and
Aye.
making sure they're a Premier League team. So in the long run, that might not be a bad thing. That's not a distraction for them, but there's no doubt it's a poor result.
Particularly in the main Scottish, where you know that if you get fortunate draws, you can get yourself into the third round and get one of the Premier League, the lower Premier League teams, or if you get really lucky, make the fourth round, you can start looking at getting big ties and big money for the clubs. So I suppose that is a disappointment, but I agree for Glenafton, it will all be about staying in the Premier League.
100%. But no, as you said, when you're in the senior Scottish, you want to go as far as you can and see if you can get any of the glamour ties and stuff. So it is a disappointment, but it's one of the things we just need to recover for quickly because I'm sure if they're back to league action next week, they'll come up against a stronger side than Thrieve.
Aye, definitely. A result that stuck out for me as well, Glencairn beat Hutchison Vale 2-0. Glencairn are absolutely flying just now, top of the first division. Hutchison Vale went to the Talbot recently and only lost 1-0. Granted, based off the highlights, the Talbot should have probably been 4 or 5. But Glencairn, they seem to be ticking really well just now and just putting wins together and a clean sheet as well. Only boosts their confidence.
I think the last few years, mate, I think that Glencairn have been one of the best coach teams in the league.
Hmm.
I think they're hard to, they've always been hard to break down the last few years, and they've got good attacking threat, and they've added to that with their squad this year as well. They've got strength and depth. They've got options off the bench, so I think they're a really, really good side. And one that I said at the start of the year, I thought would be right up there in the league.
Aye, I think that they look in a position where they're really promotion should be their aim this year, but obviously they'd be looking to go and win it. A couple of results that are results that you possibly have expected. Clydebank 7-0 against St Andrews. It looked like I think 4 of their goals were in the last 15 minutes, so they kind of ran away with it late. Talbot beating Haddington, Meda coming back and beating Preston, and Cumnock beating Creetown as well. All results he probably expected to go the way they did. One that sticks out for me again, and it kind of shows the difference in levels between the West and the East and South and stuff. Girvan taking 9 off us, St Cuthbert's, who St Cuthbert's I think are 9th in the South League. Girvan are, I'm not even looked at their league position, but they are middle of the table in our third division.
Third
That
division,
shows that shows the difference between the levels where a fourth tier team in the West are taking 9 off a Premier League team in the South.
and that's convincing. It's really convincing that you can't really get any better than that. As it shows, it does say a lot about the levels across the board. But as I said, I seen a wee bit of Girvan 2 weeks ago, and they look like they work really, really hard. They're well organised. Dean's getting well coached there as well, so they look a decent side, to be fair. I know we said they're mid-table, but I'd expect them to maybe to be going a wee bit higher.
I think that they probably will. And finally, in the Scottish Cup, 2-0 win for Carluke against Golspie Sutherland. And a big congratulations to them, because I know that's a big win for them as a club. But again, that shows Carluke are mid-table in our fourth division, and they're going and taking a 2-0 win off Golspie Sutherland. They'll be really hard. They'll be really happy with that, because I know how hard that they work off kind of behind the scenes, because things haven't been so smooth for the club in the last few years.
Aye, 100%. I think when they're the licensed club, and you're in that fourth division, it's kind of, you want to be as high as you can, but when you get these opportunities and you can go, as we said, it's brilliant for them to go and take it. So hopefully they get a decent draw in the next round and manage to go further. Actually, I heard that Thomas, I think he came away for the game yesterday,
Is that right?
unwell,
Oh,
at half time. So hopefully he's all right. I don't know what happened there, but I heard.
oh, I've never heard that, so fingers crossed he's all
Hopefully
right.
he's all right.
Moving on to league action. In the Premier League, Gartcairn 2, Hurlford 0, Johnstone Borough 2, St Cadocs 1, Largs 2, Shotts 0. We'll start with your former club, Johnstone Borough. Sitting second in the league just now. I think that the position looks a bit better than how the results have been for them, because that's a really big result yesterday. Having only won 4 out of 8, in my opinion, they would be looking for better than that. But what's your views on how things have been going with the Borough this season?
I think they needed that win yesterday, after the last few results. I think obviously Clydebank are flying high now and been pretty convincing in everything they've done. And I think they did a convincing one last week by all accounts. But I think the Borough have had a decent start. But it's one of the things, like, if they want to have the success that is kind of the ambition of the club and the aim going forward, then they'll need to keep picking up more wins than draws. I think, did you say 4 out of 8?
4 out of 8. So they've won
4
4,
out of 8.
drawn 3. So they've only lost 1, which is fair enough. That's decent form in that sense. But I think the draws kind of taking too many points off. They're sitting 3 points behind Clydebank. Clydebank have got 2 games in hand, and based on their current form, you're struggling to see where they're going to drop points just now.
Aye, 100%. No, I agree. I think Clydebank look really, really strong, but for Johnstone Borough, I think going forward, it will need to be a better win rate than that. If they want to get the success that the club demands, as obviously I'm aware of it last year, but that's football. But I think, as I said, that I think it's a really good win for them yesterday, to be fair, because St Cadocs are a good side, and I seen when that was coming up. I spoke to Fez midweek, and I thought it would have been one of the best games of the day, just with the quality of the two teams, the players on show. So it's a big win for them.
I think you've touched on they have to be better in terms of how many points are dropped. This isn't like the first division last year, or the first division every year, where you could lose 7 and 8 games and get yourself promoted because you've got the 3 chances there. But in the Premier League, you've only got 1 chance. You have to go and win it. And I don't think that it's a league that if you lose 7 or 8 games that you have a chance of winning. I think that there's just, I know there's a lot of points get dropped, but I don't think you can afford many defeats, which granted they've no, but it is a different league in a sense from the first division.
I think it's one of the things, see, at the start when you're playing against the stronger sides, you need to try and get as many points as you can, because Clydebank don't look as if they've not dropped a point yet. I think the likes of B, they've taken a wee bit of time, but they will click, I think, and go on towards kind of, well, soon, I think, because B, they've still got really top players.
Mm.
So if it's just dependent on the fixtures. I think when you see the opportunities to build a wee bit of momentum, and you've got decent opposition that you can go and beat, you need to try and take the opportunities when you can. But yesterday, as I said, a win over St Cadocs, a massive result for them. So
Well, that's the
that's
thing. St Cadocs had the slow start last year, and then they were flying at the end of the season. You saw they came right into it, and I think they finished in the top 3. And then they've done the same again this year. They've played 6, won 2, and lost 4, which I know that their management team will be really disappointed with, because they are a good side. To me, I'm looking at it, they've only scored 9 in 6 games, and when they're bringing in Kieran Divers, you're expecting, based off of how his last few years have been, you expect him to go and bang in plenty of goals. And it's not really happening for them just now, and they're maybe struggling to get goals for elsewhere.
I seen he wasn't in the starting lineup yesterday. Kieran Diver, and I see Alan Lithgow wasn't in it either. The week before the game, I seen it was Richie McKillen and the young boy McClucky at centre back. And I don't think it was Bob McHugh up front either. I'm not sure who started for him. So
Right.
I don't know whether that's an injury or whatever, but I know what you're saying. I do expect St Cadocs to come good because I thought the longer the season went on last year, the stronger they became.
Aye,
They play
definitely.
some brilliant stuff. Like Fez is a brilliant coach, really, really top coach, and that's what I actually thought they were the favourites coming into the league. But it is a slow start, so hopefully they can recover.
Aye, I think there's plenty of time for them. Um, Largs 2-0 against Shotts puts Largs into fourth place. Myself and Dak have spoke about Largs a lot in the last couple of years, and it's something that I think they're a funny team. They're similar to the Borough where they've only won 3 out of 7, but they've only lost 1 out of 7 as well. But Arnie just seems to keep putting a team together that are so difficult to beat, and then they go and get good results. Shots, on the other hand, are really struggling. They've only won 1 out of 6, and I'm struggling to see where they're going to pick up a lot of other points as well. But it's a great 3 points for Largs.
100%. I think Lads is probably one that nobody looks forward to getting down there because it's
Aye.
so difficult, and it's. I was talking to one of the boys, Kieran Brady, that played me last year. I was speaking to him last night. He's done it Lads and he loves it. It was just saying they're well organised, they're well drilled, they all work really hard for each other. There's nothing fancy.
Mhm.
They just work really, really hard. They're so difficult to play against. So um, it's one of the things I think they'll go and take points everywhere. Basically, they'll be really hard to beat. But I think, as you said, there's a lot of draws in there as well.
Mhm.
So they'll not might not win every week, but they'll really lose.
Aye, I mentioned it last week on the show that Largs won't win the league. In my opinion, I don't see them being a team that can go and win the league. But I think that Largs are the type of team who have a big say on who does win the league in a sense because they go to the top teams and they go and take points off them and they make it interesting and they keep themselves right in that kind of mid-pack, top half hunt all the time. But they probably don't have enough just to go and get themselves into the top couple of spots.
I think so. I think as well. I think when they get the guy in charge, I think when Arnie's there, they're really, really fortunate to have him. I think he's a brilliant
Mm.
manager, really, really good manager. And when he's there, I think they'll always be up and challenging.
Aye,
I
aye,
think it was a
definitely.
couple of years ago that they were down the other end and battling a relegation, but he signed really, really, really recruits well, gets the right types of boys in, and he makes it. Whether he wins or not, he makes it really, really hard to play against.
I think you're right when you touch on it. It's the right type of boys in where they all work hard for each other and they're willing to. They're not because they'll not be anywhere near the top players in the division, but they gets the right type of players in with the right mindset. Very Tucker-esque for me in that sense, where maybe not the same resources, but if you're getting the right kind of players in with it, for me, mindset wise, then you're going to give yourself a chance against anybody.
That's the biggest thing for me. I think, see at that level, yeah, it doesn't matter what happens. You need to work the hardest. If you don't work, you're not getting anywhere. And that's what he has right. That's the basics, absolute basics of the game, and the fundamentals that you need. He's got them in that dressing room.
Nah, definitely. Moving on to the final result of the Premier League, Cairn were a much needed win that takes them a few points ahead, 4 points clear of the relegation zone. They've not the best of seasons, they lost 4 out of the first 6. So that was a good win for them. Hurlford, on the other hand, I touched on it again last week. I think this might be the year that they really struggle. They have been so consistent for years. That's another defeat that they really wouldn't want to have. And it's just keeping themselves in that wee position where if Benburg get a win or Shotts get a win and you don't win that week, you're right in the pack for relegation. So they are kind of going to have to try and pick up some wins.
Definitely. Do you know, I've been really disappointed in Gilkieran start because the talent they've got in their squad. I don't know. You just expect a bit more. They've got real talent. They've got really good players, and I thought they'd recruited well again, but. It's a really, really talented squad. I thought they'd have had a bit more points on the board, but 7 points for 7 is not what you'd expect
No,
for that group of players. I don't think.
no, I think you're completely spot on. money gets mentioned a lot and stuff, and they have it, and they've recruited, which on paper you would think very well with the quality they've got there. I don't know what it is because again, I mentioned this last week. I don't know what the issue is and why they're not picking up enough points, but they'll definitely be happy to get the 3 points yesterday. But moving on to the first division, Arthurlie 3, Blantyre 0, Kilburnie 1, Renfrew 3, Maple 0, Robroy 1, St Roch's 1, Ardrossan 0, Ashfield 3, Thornywood 5, Arthurlie, another good result for them. I think that it's looking like it's their league to them and Glencairn are right up there, and I personally think that Arthurlie will get themselves first place. I just think they're really strong. I think that they've probably added a couple of good players as well, maybe the right type of players who are going to try and get them to bounce back. On the other hand, Blantyre, I can't see it but relegation for them. That's 7 defeats in the bounce. They've only scored 4 goals. They've conceded 24. It's going to be a really, really long season for them.
So on Arthurlie, I watched Arthurlie last week at Rob Roy, and I watched the first half yesterday. And that game I was busy in the afternoon, but I went there first. And actually, Blantyre could have went ahead in the game, to be fair to them. They had a couple of chances, but just didn't have that final bit of quality. But I think there was a kind of, and it was kind of inevitable that Arthurlie were going to go ahead when Blantyre didn't take the chances, you know. But for me, last week in particular, Arthurlie looked really, really strong, really good going forward. And then yesterday again, as I said, it was a slow start, but it ended for them convincing in the end. And I think you're right. I think they'll definitely be in that top 3 anyway. I still think Rutherglen could be the one to win it, but I would like to see Arthurlie do it. They're obviously a local team for me, and a couple of my ex-players there as well. So they're a strong team, and I hope to see them go from strength to strength.
Well, we
Blantyre,
looked at the table. Arthurlie have played 7, won 5, drawn 1, lost 1. Glencairn have played 6, won 4, and drawn 2. And you know what it's like in that league. If you're no losing many games, then you're in with a right good shout of getting promoted at the end of the season.
yeah, it'll be tight. I thought last year was super tight, and this year just looks like it's going to be the same.
Yep. I
It does.
completely agree.
I think see at Blantyre, right? As I said, I watched a bit of them yesterday, and there's a few good players in that team. There is a few decent ones. Like I like the boy in the middle of the park, the boy Hansen that plays there. A lot of energy about him, gets about the pitch, a bit of quality, and they did have a bit of a pace at the top end of the pitch as well. And with a wee bit more quality, a wee bit of luck, they could have went ahead in the game, but you can see there was a lack of confidence.
Aye.
But obviously, I've worked with Ross Wilson a few times, last year, sorry, and I know he's a good coach, so I wouldn't have any surprises if they start picking up points and they start getting. But to be fair, after 7 games, no having any, going to need to be soon. If I mean, that's nearly a third of the way through the season, so they need to start picking up points soon.
I think that losing is like winning. When you're in the habit, it's hard to break it, and it's looking that way for them. A result that for me, my local team, and it's really good to see. I always love going down to Renfrew. I think that's a great result against Kilburnie away from home. Kilburnie, I know they've lost the last 2, but they've had a good start to the season. But I think Jimmy's done a great job at Renfrew. I mean, they're sitting in 4th place right now. I think they lost the first 2 games of the season, then they've won 4 at the last 5 with a draw thrown in there as well. That's really impressive form for me in that league.
So see, for me, see at the start of the year, I watched Renfrew in pre-season, and I didn't see where they were going to. They just didn't look as if they were going to score goals. They looked as if they needed a centre forward that was going to put the ball in the net. But I think they brought the boy Licorice in for Bember, and they've started, for me, after the first 2 games, it started really, really well after that. Last few games have been in really good form, so it's good to see again. I said I'm a Paisley guy up at local teams run about me after the Renfrew, so you want to see them do well. But so it's good, and that is a good, because Kilburnie's not an easy place to go.
No.
Kilburnie's always a tough one, and they've actually signed a couple of really experienced players this year, Kilburnie, and they've got a strong squad. So to go down there and get a result is good going for Renfrew, and I agree with you. Jimmy's doing a really good job there.
You look at, we spoke about it, I think 2 seasons ago. His win rate at Renfrew is unbelievable. Last year, obviously, brings his numbers right down because they had a hard season but managed to stay up. But I think that Jimmy's doing an absolutely tremendous job there, and I think it's to be commended. The Rock beating Ardrossan, the Rock have not had the best of times recently, and I think that was a result they needed because Ardrossan, despite being new to the league, are a good side, and Gaffriels has got them playing well. Like we played against them at Craig Mart last year, and I thought they were very good. So that is for me a really good and needed result for the Rock yesterday.
I'm surprised. Oh, I seen Kendall put yesterday that it was a hard fought one for them, and Ardrossan were unlucky not to come away with a point. And I've been surprised that Ardrossan haven't picked up more points than they are because they are a really good side.
Aye,
But St Rock, that is a really good result for the Rock, and I think they've made no secret that they want to try and compete up at the top end of the table, and they've made good signings this year. So that I think they're on 13, which they're not far
aye.
off. I mean, a point outside the promotion places, so it is a big result. If they can build a wee bit of momentum, it's a tough place to go, so they could do
Aye.
well.
And you're looking at the league table just now. I mean that Peters Hill down to 11th place in the league. They've got a couple of games in hand. If they win one of them or two of them, you're looking at really anybody in the top. I know it's still early to say that teams won't get promoted, but anybody in the top 11 or 12 are really still in with a chance if they put 3 or 4 wins together to be in that position for promotion.
Aye, it's so tight. It's just the same as last year, carbon copy. So
It's one of the best leagues, to be fair, I think, in the setup,
always
just
the
for
most competitive.
competitiveness.
I looking at it now. You still see Arthurlie sitting in that bottom three with the fourth, which they should be so much higher than that. That's for me is a disappointment. I watched them in the summer, and I know they won yesterday in the Scottish. I seen Tam Cruden get the winner in that in the last minute, but for me they should be higher up that league than what they are.
Well, we touched on Gart Cairn in the Premier League, maybe not doing as well as you would expect. The Med is another one, but again, we've seen it. If you watch this level, you've played at this level, whatever, early years, this isn't new. This is not new for teams where, I mean, I had it twice. Maryhill, they get relegated to the Premier League. Then when I was in the Super First room the next season, relegated. Same happened with Co-winning, you know what I mean? The Borough have been in that position, the Bens have been in that position. So many clubs have been in the position where sometimes you go into free fall and it's hard to see where you stop it. And I feel for Ben because I know that he's walked in when things weren't great with the club, but he's no really turned it around either. And it is quite difficult because I know there is finances available for them that some of the clubs about them don't have. And I'm looking at like the likes of Ashfield and stuff who have had to completely rebuild their squad. I just think that, like yourself, they should definitely be doing better or looking to do better than what they are doing.
I know Benfield when he was playing when he was younger and he was a good player and a good boy as well, but that is tough to go in there because I don't think he inherited a great
Yeah,
setup, and it's hard for him. And it's really difficult to go in there, have to rip it up, get the right types in, and get going, and especially in a tough league like that. Because Arthur, likes when you look at the top, Arthurlie, Rutherglen, Cumbernauld, Renfrews, they've all got settled squads
aye,
and just had to add a couple. But Ben's effectively had to rip it up.
aye, aye. And it's,
So it is hard. But again, just for a club of Meadow size, and they shouldn't be sitting in that bottom three.
no, nah, I think it would be a disaster for them to go into the third tier. Moving on to the second division, Forsyth Rangers 1, Nielsen 4, Lanark 2, Cali Locals 2, Les Mexico 5, Yoker 4, the Ants 2, Muirkirk 6. Start with the table toppers, Muirkirk, 7 wins for 7, 2-0 up against the Ants yesterday. The Ants get it to 2 each at half time, and then Muirkirk scored within the first couple of minutes of the second half and run away with it. And you know what's actually, I want to go down and see Muirkirk at some point this season because on paper, I'm so impressed with the turnaround. They went for last year being a middle of the road team in the second division to complete control of most games that they're playing in this season. And that's a tremendous result for them because going to the Ants are a funny team. Like people who listen know that I played with the Ants and I've got a lot of time for them. They're a funny team because they don't have anything. but they always end up putting really stuffy teams together who cause you issues. And for Muirkirk to go and take 6 off them at their own place is an impressive result.
Aye, that is without a doubt. I watched Muirkirk a bit, and I watched them in pre-season at Springburn. I can't remember who it was against at Springburn, and there's a few really good young players in there. I like the two fullbacks; they were really good. The day I watched them, and I just thought they played really well. They moved the ball well, they attacked well, defended well. So I'm not surprised to see them doing well at the start of the year. But I expected Nielsen to be in that top spot at this point, to be
Aye,
honest. So if Muirkirk can keep that up, then fair play to them. It's really good.
aye. The 6 point gap, because Nielsen have won 5 out of 7, and that's pretty solid numbers. That in most leagues would have you maybe within a point of top of the table, or if no top. But to be 6 points, that gives Muirkirk so much leeway where you can have a couple of draws thrown in there and you know that you're still going to be top of the league and you're still going to be right in the hunt for it. And I think it's important. But that's like, it was a good win for Nielsen yesterday, because I always found, always as a player, going to Kilsyth was difficult, and they're one of the teams who they're sitting 7th in the league, but they're a really hard team to break down, particularly when you go away to them. So that is a good win for Nielsen, 4-1.
100%. But I think, see, really for me, that's two championship teams playing in, well,
Aye,
League One teams playing in League Two there. Just with the facilities they've got, the history of the club, and the size of the club and stuff like that. So it's massive. I think we went down to Kilsyth for pre-season a couple of years back, and I think it's a great setup down there.
aye,
Really enjoyed it. So for Nielsen to go and get that type of result is really good. I
aye,
think I don't think Nielsen. I think they had a couple of poor results earlier on in the season, so it's good to see them building a couple of stronger ones now, and
aye,
hopefully a bit.
aye. Because even with the Nielsen one, this in disrespect to my old club, Craigmark, but Nielsen nicked a 3-2 win late on against Craigmark, and I think they'd lost maybe the week previous. And I was thinking, are Nielsen going to struggle this year? Because everybody else that's going to Craigmark has gave them a bit of going over. And I was like, is that a sign that Nielsen aren't strong? But clearly no, the case is that they're starting to put wins together. The other games in the league, Lanark 2, Cali Locals 2, two teams who I think they'll kind of be in that mid-table range this season. And then Les Mahago, who I think Les Mahago are brilliant in the sense that, see, if you're a paying customer to go to Les Mahago, you get the most entertainment ever, because this is the same as last season. 5-4 against Yoka. They've scored 18, they've conceded 18 in 7 games. You're like, every year they're the same. You just got hundreds of goals, and I think that it would be great to go and watch them every week. Probably a bit of a stress if you were a Les Mahago fan, but it's brilliant entertainment.
You're getting entertainment regardless, aren't you?
Aye,
It's at 18 against and 18 for.
aye, it's brilliant. They were saying last year it's madness.
In 7 games. I don't know. I feel for the manager. I can't imagine
Aye.
standing for the touchline, scoring that amount and conceding that amount. Does he get here?
I know, it's like you're sitting looking at them. They're the third top goal scorers, or fourth top goal scorers in the league, and you've only won 3 games out of 7. It's madness, but I think it's brilliant for as a neutral with them, because I think they had last year, they had like 5 or 6 games that had 10 plus goals in it between the two teams. So it is quite entertaining. Moving on to the third division, Ardeer 1, Irvine Vics 2, Dorai 1, Vale of Leven 1, Finnart 2, Thorn 4, Perthshire 5, Wishaw 1, Kilsyth Athletic 4, Glenvale 2. We'll keep it in the family for you. We'll go to Lewis's team, Glenvale. You mentioned that you did a wee bit for them last week against Thrieve. They go and beat Thrieve, which away from home I thought was a very impressive result. 4-2 against Kilsyth. I know Kilsyth can be a bit funny because they're young. They can be a bit erratic as well. But how's Lewis finding it this season? Because last year was brilliant for him. First season as a manager. They go and romp the league. Excellent run for him. How's he finding it with the step up this season?
Do you know, I just think this is probably the first wee bit of adversity that he's faced. The first wee difficult time he's had, because without being disrespectful to him, it was really kind of plain sailing for them last year.
Aye.
And they won every week, whether they were. There was times where I spoke to him on one at half time in one of the games last year. I remember that I think they were 2-0 down, and you end up winning 4-2 at full time, and that was a regular occurrence for him.
Aye.
This year, you don't get away with that when you step up. So I know it's frustrations on his part. We had a wee chat earlier about the goals they're conceding. and obviously not happy with them. But I think there's faith there that they'll get better, they'll improve week on week, and he knows that he doesn't want to have a season that's littered with defeats and draws. So he wants to start winning again like last year. But what I will say is, it's brilliant to go into that league curve that wee bit, and it'll make you a better manager.
I think that that's the thing, that as him as a very young manager and his first job, he probably does need a bit of adversity against them, and because you don't really learn a great deal for winning. It's when you have the hard times that you start to realise that certain things aren't working for you. You start to realise that certain players that you thought were what you needed to get up the leagues, and you start to see a bit of hardship on them, and they start to maybe, the point I'm making, I suppose, is that they start to fall away, and you see a different side of people's characters when you're no winning. And if you can bring that together and start to turn it around, then obviously you have a good team there. But I think it's not a bad thing for him to go through this spell.
Before his game last week, we had a wee look at the first couple of games that they played, and some of the goals that were getting away were criminal, and he's seen that and addressed it with players and stuff. So he said it worked well, but it's one of the things, if they want to be successful going forward, then the goals against Scotland will obviously need to come down. But going forward, like I watched them against Greenock a few weeks back. I watched most of their games on a video, and going forward, they're really, really good. They just need to keep the back door shut.
Nah, I think that based off how it went last year, I think that he'll be able to keep that team up and maybe look to push on a wee bit. But it's still very early doors for him. Up the top end of the table, the Thorn beating Finnart 4-2. That's a really big result. The winner of that game was always going to be top of the league, with Ardere dropping points. Stevie McKnight has stepped down after this weekend. I think I seen that he's going to Australia. What a job he's done there. I think that they did really well with the previous management team, and he just came in and took it to another level. It's quite sad for the Thorn to lose him, because they've put a good side together, and without it being disrespectful, because I don't mean it this way, they're an unknown group of players in a sense. There's a couple of them that have played at a higher level, but they're quite unknown. They strike me as a good unit instead of being a team littered with top individuals. It seemed like a really strong unit.
I think I watched them against Glenville a few weeks back, and they did play some nice stuff. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I think they added Drury Clark in it at the back, and Dan Jones up top. At wide left, I think he played that night, and you can see that wee bit of experience has really helped them. So I think they're stronger than what they were last year. I think that's shown with the results and where they're sitting in the league. So if they can keep that consistency, you never know how it's going to go. See, when a manager goes, obviously it worked for them last year
Yeah.
when Stephen came in and helped to get them up. So it'll be interesting to see how they go over the next couple of weeks and see if there's a reaction, or they can keep going. What I do know is the boy David is taking over. He was on my licence course last a couple of years ago, sorry. And he's a really good coach. He came in for Queen's Park. Obviously, I know the boys there, so it'll be interesting to see how they go.
Nah, I think it will be. Finnart are a team who I think Brian's done a great job there. He got them promoted the first year for the fourth division, uh, and he's kept them very competitive. We kind of know the greatest of resources, and they're a team that fly under the radar for me. But I think Ardere will be hugely disappointed. That was Irvin Vick's first win of the season in the league. But maybe their win against the Meda last week is something that's boosted them. But I know that Sean will be really disappointed with dropping points and losing top spot.
Definitely, definitely. But as you said there, I think we touched on earlier about the first two results. Irvin Vick's won last week. That one win, and that big one can give you that wee springboard to go on and go on maybe a wee run. So it's brilliant for Irvin Vick's if they can go on and take kind of confidence for last week and go on a wee run. But as you said, I know what you're saying with Ardere. They want to be, if they're up sitting in second at the moment, they want to be challenging and keeping going, because they've had a fairly solid start to the season. And I think they'd like to think that they should be up another league come
Aye,
next season.
I think so. We'll move on to the fourth division. BSC 0, Eglinton 5, Kello 4, West Park 1, Rossvale 2, Campbeltown 1, Saltcoats 1, East Kilbride 5, St Peter's 4, Newmains 0. Rossvale taking the opportunity when Knightswood and Port Glasgow were both on cup duties to get themselves some points and put themselves back into second place. They've won 4 at the last 5 and drawn 1. Before that, they lost to the Port in a game that I don't think they should have lost. I was doing watching that night. I think that draw would have been a fair result at the end. But I think this is going to be a really interesting division. Knightswood, Rossvale, and the Port will be the three that'll be fighting out. I think Knightswood maybe probably with the quality they've got could see it over the line because they've got guys who have won things before. But I think Josh will be pretty happy with the fact that they were able to go and get a win. But on the flip side, Campbeltown, I know they've only won 1 out of the last 5. Sorry, 1 out of the 6 games. They won last week, 2-1 to Rossvale. That's a good result for Campbeltown. I know they've not picked anything up, but that's a really good result and possibly means that they've either just, for them, getting players can be a hard part. Some weeks they have their full squad and then they can be good, and then for 3 or 4 weeks they don't, and then they're going and getting beat. But I think they'll probably be pretty happy with saying signs of encouragement, getting a run in Rossvale so close.
Definitely, because Rossvale for me are a top side in that league,
Yep.
and I think they will progress. I think we played them in a friendly last year, and I was really impressed with the style, how well they handled the ball, the movement off the ball and stuff. I thought they were really, really good, really well coached, as I said. So I think the big thing for me when you look at that league, I think Knightswood with the quality of player they've got will obviously be up there, but it's whether can they keep them there for the full season.
Mhm.
Because I think when Dan Miller's playing in that league, at some point somebody will come and try and get him away from there. You know, whether it's somebody that's wanting to try and kick their team on or drag them away from the bottom or whatever in one of the other leagues, somebody will make them an offer at some point. It's whether we can keep boys like that there. But for Rossvale, if they can keep me steady and keep on the toes on the heels of Knightswood, sorry, then you never know what can happen.
I think it'll be interesting. Kello beating West Park 4-1. They are sitting in 4th place with 13 points. Game in hand on Port Glasgow and Rossvale. So potentially they could move themselves in a second spot as well. And Kello can be a bit funny for me. They've had the last couple of years, they've had spells where they've been really strong and looked really good. But then they go and lose 4 or 5 games in the bounce, and that inconsistency has killed them. I'm wondering if this season at the 4th division is maybe where they start to find that consistency, winning 4 out of 6, drawing 1 and losing 1, but only conceding 8 goals, which you know what it's like. I think at that level as well, if you're about that level where you're only conceding a goal per game, then you're in with a great chance of doing something because you see, like Port Glasgow for me, one of their big issues is they lose a lot of goals and they've conceded 13 and 7, but they're still right up there. So in that division, I think that a goal a game losing, you're still going to be in a good chance of winning every week or getting something.
100%, because it's no matter how, and I think this is, see if I touch back and just reference this to my brother's team, it's one of the things. I think they'll score goals every single week, they'll score 2 and 3 goals, but it's keeping that back door shut. If you don't do it, you struggle to give yourself a chance. So it's the same in this league here. If you can keep that, your average goals to the same amount of games that you've played,
Mm.
you're not going to lose many.
No, no, definitely no. And you
No.
will, because there is a lot of young teams, and at this level, you get a lot of mistakes. So you will score most weeks because there will be mistakes in the game. So, like you said, you keep that to a minimum what you're losing, you're going to have a great chance of winning. Um,
Definitely.
East
Totally agree.
Kilbride getting a good win against Saltcoats. East Kilbride are kind of keeping themselves in that hunt for the top 3 spot. I'm not sure if they'll be able to hold on to it, but that's a good solid win for them because Saltcoats have started to pick up a late as well. I think Stevie's doing a decent job there, and I think he needs time, but he'll turn their fortunes around. But that was a good convincing win for East Kilbride yesterday.
There's definitely been an improvement at Saltcoats. You can see that in the results that they've had kind of over the piece. But I think you're right. It's a really convincing win for East Kilbride yesterday. And if they want, I've seen a few reports and stuff like that and read a wee bit about them wanting to really push and try and get up. So if they carry on with results like that, they give themselves a really good chance of trying to break in. But I think the hardest thing for teams like East Kilbride and Kell, just that top 3 that are there now, they look really strong and really consistent. So if you want to try and break into top 3, you're going to have to make sure that you're on it all the time.
I think the 4th division has played it the last few years. It's very much been, there's been 3 or 4 teams who have kind of run away with it, whereas every other division has been tight. Like the Premier League's always tight, First Division's always tight. Second Division last year wasn't so much. Third Division was kind of similar, but you've always got 6 or 7 teams who are there. And I feel like the fourth division, this might be the first year that for the top three spots, you might have 6 or 7 teams. Because Easterhouse in there, I think that their management team, if they've come in last season, have done a tremendous job where they were getting battered weekly. And now they've put themselves in a position where they're always right in the hunt. St Peter's, I don't think they'll get promoted. Good 4-0 win yesterday. New Mains will be disappointed with that. But St Peter's have got enough about them that they can go and beat teams. I just think that they've also going to drop quite a lot of points as well.
I think because St Peter's they had a bad one last week, didn't they? Was it Campbeltown?
Aye.
So it's that inconsistency, as I said. If you want to challenge that top three, you can't have results like that.
No.
You know, you're not going to be you're going to be mid-table at best.
Aye. Definitely agree.
I just don't see. Like last year, I was surprised that Rossvale didn't go up last year, and it was Lugo that went up with Glenvale and the Thorn. But it's just that consistency again. You know, they don't have it, and this year if they've got it, I'm sure they will go up.
Aye, I think that last year, maybe the inexperience of the teams like Rossvale and Giffnock, who were young sides, that inexperience maybe was why they couldn't get themselves up. Where the Thorn have been together a long time and done really well at amateur, and they've maybe got that experience of being top end of the table and their setups that they were able to get through. You look at like Lewis with Glenafton, they had some good quality players in there, and the boys like kind of Jack Hegarty and stuff like that, and other boys who'd been about higher levels who were able to get them there.
Yeah.
So I think you're right, that consistency is key. But we'll need to see how it plays out. But look, that's us for another week. Jamie, I'm absolutely delighted you could join us, and I know you're a busy man just now with everything going on in the background, but I appreciate you giving up your time, and hopefully we're not waiting too long until you're back in football.
I hope no, mate, a wee bit longer, and then I'll be quite happy to be back. So
No,
I
I
was hoping
think
the first
that
time I came on, it'd be in a joke. To be fair, you know what I mean? Kept me waiting for a wee while, but nah. Listen, it was nice to be on, mate. I appreciate it.
no, if you're more than happy to do it, then we'll have you back on the next couple of months as well. And hopefully, like I said, once you've got your wedding and all that stuff out of the way, that you maybe get yourself back in. I don't imagine you'll struggle getting back in. But look, everybody, thank you very much for watching. As always, like the episode, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a great deal. And make sure next week you go out and support your local clubs. Thanks for watching. Cheers.